Lucius Malfoy, Draco's father, has no job. Harry's father, James, had no job. Bellatrix and her husband were both in prison for over a decade, and I'm pretty sure before they went there, they had no job. But all of these people had a ton of money in their bank vaults. How does that work? And how does the wizarding economy overall works? Well, today we find out. A quick recap on the wizarding economy. The denominations are crazy. Galleons are golden, coins, sickles are silver, and Gringotts are bronze coins. The conversion rate across these are also crazy. And all of their money is minted at Gringotts. Gringotts is the wizarding bank that takes care of the minting, the storing, the transactions, and everything else. Lucius Malfoy is shown to have so much money that he can make generous donations to St. Mungo's Hospital and bribe Fudge and others to delay laws and receive undeserved rewards and recognitions. Expenses like these are not one-off, and over time are sure to make a large enough dent on the corpus that they would not be able to afford a whole set of Nimbus 2001s for an entire Quidditch team. But still he can manage this and his family's day-to-day expenses without having a job. What gives? And don't even get me started on his sister-in-law. Bellatrix Lestrange's vault has enormous wealth. While she and her husband were in Azkaban, her money stayed safe in the vault. No one bothered to touch it, freeze it, move it, or anything else. Why? This is also a plot hole in the story for a lot of people. But today we'll get to the bottom of this. And to understand this, first we need to discuss a little bit of how Muggle economy works. In a simplified way, the money that we have in our banks are lent out to customers as loans, who pay it back with interest. Banks keep a part of this additional money for paying salaries to their employees and other expenses, and they pay us back a small share of that interest. Wizarding money does not work like that. They have physical gold and silver, and whether you are using that money or not, it stays in your vault. Your individual money in your vault is not lent out to people. That means that Gringotts does not make any money from the deposits in their vault. Then how does it pay salary to its employees? We know one way in which Gringotts makes money: curse breaking. Bill Weasley worked as a curse breaker for Gringotts in Egypt. They make money by literally going out and getting more gold from Egyptian tombs and pyramids. And this would be a limited source because there are only so many pyramids and tombs you can break into. Also, I don't think Gringotts charges any asset management fees. Otherwise, long-running family accounts like Malfoy's would run out of money sooner or later. So my theory is that Gringotts, which was established in 1470s, have been using the vast sums of gold that they have to make investments in the Muggle world across the globe. And they have been doing it since before the international stage of secrecy was even implemented in 1690s. Which would mean they have a lot of assets and investments across the globe. We see the same thing in the Muggle world with a lot of countries who have very large sovereign national funds. Countries like Qatar, Norway, Abu Dhabi, Singapore, and many more have sovereign national funds. These funds invest huge sums of money across the globe in real estate, stock market, and earn huge returns on those investments. These returns are then used to fund social welfare programs in their home country. Abu Dhabi's Sovereign National Fund has roughly $500,000 per citizen. Just think about that. Now imagine the same thing, but with hundreds of years of head start. With hundreds of years of compounding, I think the returns from the investment that the goblins have made in the Muggle world is just crazy. And they get good returns on those investments and use that to pay heavy returns to people who have vaults in Gringotts. This is a large enough incentive to keep the government and the wizarding people from interfering with Gringotts and the financial system overall. The goblins keep a fair share for themselves, which they use to pay their employees, and give the remaining as interest to the account holders. These high returns from simply money that is lying in your vault means that people can keep spending whatever they earn each year in interest and still never run out of money. That would explain how the Malfoys are so rich after so many years of Lucius not even having a job. Now, as for Bellatrix and her husband's vault, while they were in prison, the money was not moved. Why is that? So for this, I think we need to understand something. Goblins do not interfere directly in the wizarding wars. They stayed out of the one when Harry was born, and they stayed out of the one when Harry was in 7th year, was supposed to be in his 7th year. The goblins have no incentive to work with the government in any of these cases. They have no reason to report to the government, hey, this person has an account. They have no reason to tell who's sending money to whom. And they have no laws for money laundering, etc., things like that. For the Muggle government, which directly involves itself in how much money is printed each year, how much money is in circulation, it makes sense to have laws like that. They keep track of where the money is going, who's sending money to whom, etc. But the wizarding financial system does not work like that. So how would the wizarding government know that there is an account in the name of Lestranges? And even if they do they have the power to tell goblins, hey, freeze that account, move their assets? I don't think so. The goblins have no incentive to let the government write any rules like that. The government has zero incentive to break the current financial structure anyways. Most government employees would be happy getting such good interest rates on their deposits in the vault. It's perfect harmony between the government and the bank. You don't interfere with us, and we won't interfere with you. And the interest rate will remain high for everyone. Just think about it. Sirius Black, the most wanted fugitive, an escapee from Azkaban, was able to easily place an order for Firebolt broom from Quality Quidditch Supplies. How? Well, for the shop, it was simple. The order was placed by Harry, not Sirius Black. But from Gringotts' perspective, they clearly saw that the money is going out from Sirius Black's vault. They just verified the payment is from Sirius, and they just made the transaction. They have zero reason to go and tell the government, hey, Sirius Black is withdrawing money from his account and buying the fastest broom ever. They have no incentive to do that. They had zero involvement when Sirius was sent to Azkaban. They have zero say in why he was sent there. They don't care why he was sent there. They don't care why he left. Goblins simply don't give a chocolate frog about the wizarding laws. For the goblins, it's not Bellatrix's vault. It's the Lestrange family vault. It's not Sirius Black's vault. It's the Black family vault. Goblins have a lot of respect for these families, which have worked with them for hundreds of years. I don't think they're going to rat them out. Think of the wizarding bank like the Swiss bank instead of thinking it like the Citibank. Now you may ask, why doesn't the government simply write some rules for managing the financial system? For this, you need to understand something. The goblins have zero say in what laws are written in the wizarding world. They have zero say on who goes to Azkaban and who does not. They have zero control and zero access to the education system. They have zero access to the wandcraft technology that wizards have. They have one control, which is the financial system, and that's what they manage. Imagine the government trying to write some rules and to take over the one thing that goblins have control over. Would the goblins sit back and let the government write its rules? I don't think so. I think they'll have another revolution at their hand, and I don't think the government wants that. Plus, the people are pretty happy and content with the high returns that they are getting. Would they be willing to sacrifice such laws? Would the people be okay with the government writing rules to take control over the financial system? Think of it like this. Today you have a government that works in your favor. Tomorrow you might have a government that does not. Would you be comfortable with that government having access to your financial system? I don't think so. Plus, there is one more thing we need to understand in this. The Muggle world literally runs on money. But same can't be said for the wizarding world. It runs on magic. Think of it like this. Have you ever heard that Voldemort was paying some salary to the Death Eaters? No. Even if you freeze Voldemort's any assets, he didn't have much, but if you freeze any of his assets, does that make any impact on the war? I don't think so. I don't think it'll have any impact. But what about the Goblin Revolutions, you ask? Well, you need to understand something. The Goblin Revolutions have been more to get equal power, like wandcraft technology access and other access to the government systems. While the goblins have revolted in the past, they are pretty content at the moment to be left alone and manage the entire financial system with little to no oversight. And from the government's perspective, across the globe, they are happy to let the goblins do their job. I would not be surprised if the goblins working at Gringotts across the globe are very well paid. They have plenty of wealth of their own. But I don't think they work to earn more money or to lavishly spend it. I think the goblins work for the same reason how elves work. House elves have an inner urge to help human beings, to say it nicely. I think the same way goblins have an inner urge to work with metal, to be involved with the minting process of gold, silver, and currencies and everything else. And I think that's the reason why they work. Now you may ask, how come the pureblood family became rich in the first place? Well, for most of the pureblood families, imagine hundreds of years before the Statute of Secrecy was even implemented. These wizarding families were very powerful in their localities, and I'm pretty sure they accumulated a lot of wealth and power simply because they had the capability to do magic in a muggle world. From this, they were able to accumulate huge assets and wealth over time. And when the Gringotts opened, they just moved some of their money into the accounts. So how come Weasleys are not rich? Well, I have a theory for that too. Weasleys at some point of time became blood traders. They took the side of muggles and thus lost enough reputation and connection with the wizarding world at that time that they started losing business. Whatever was the source of income at that time for them must have taken a huge hit. While other pureblood families kept marrying across richer families and joining their wealth together, same access was not there for the Weasleys. And since Arthur's time, he has not been interested in accumulating wealth. Well, that wraps up our theory on the wizarding financial system and how it works. What do you guys think? Does Gringotts have a better CAGR than Warren Buffett? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you had fun and will have more fun thinking about the financial system for the wizarding world now. Catch you in the next one.